Hey ladies, so I'm doing this video. I am currently 28 weeks pregnant, and last night I had this huge pregnancy scare. Actually not last night, it all started last night. I was having really bad heartburn, and excuse me, I have like a really hard time catching my breath because at this point my belly is so big that it just like squishes my lungs up. And so everybody that's in the third trimester probably can relate to this, to where they feel like they can't breathe anymore. Well, that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel like I can really not breathe, because I'll show you my belly. It's huge. There it is. Anyhow, I was having really bad heartburn last night, to the point where I started throwing up. And I didn't go to sleep until like 2 in the morning because it was just super bad. Anyways, once I did get comfortable, I kind of like propped myself up with a bunch of pillows and ended up sleeping on my back, which is not good, I guess, for pregnancy and sleeping on your back. Anyhow, I woke up this morning around 9 a.m. And usually, throughout the night, I kind of feel the baby just moving around, here and there and kicking. And I remember thinking this morning, I didn't feel the baby. And so I kind of freaked out because I woke up and I was laying on my back. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, like I fell asleep on my back. And usually my belly feels really hard, and stiff. You can see it, or I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but this morning it was feeling limp. And I got up, and usually when I get up, the baby starts kicking because I move, and the baby wasn't moving. So I kind of freaked out, and so I went to the bathroom. I came back, and I laid on my side, on my left side, and just kind of, touch my belly, try to poke at it, move it around just to, try to get baby to move. But baby was not moving at all. My belly kind of felt limp in a way. I don't know how to explain it. It was this feeling like, I don't know. It was weird. It was not like there was a baby in there. It just felt like wiggly, kind of limp. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm trying to say, but lifeless. I I was really scared. I then proceeded to get up, and I served myself a huge glass of ice water. I drank it. I laid more on my side. Nothing happened. Usually, when I drink cold water, he starts jumping right away, and that didn't happen. And I went for another huge glass of ice water, chugged it down. That didn't do it. At this point, I'm freaking out because I've been poking at my belly and nothing is happening. I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and jump in the shower because the shower usually does it for me. Also, the baby, I don't know if he likes it or doesn't like it. I normally think that he doesn't like it because he starts like trying to run away from the hot water. So I turned it up pretty hot and I said, okay, well, if anything's going to get him to wake up, it's going to be hot water. So I jump in the shower and I put it as hot as I can, you know, as hot as I can bear the water. And nothing. He's not moving. He's not kicking. no signs of anything. I put a bunch of soap on my hands and I rub my belly and kind of get them, you know, to move, and that's not helping. Excuse me. So I start freaking out. I start crying at this point. My husband's not in town. He had to go out for, my son had a tournament in California, my kids' box. Two of them qualified for junior or silver gloves, sorry, not junior Olympics, that's in a few months. For silver gloves, representing their weight class. They're representing Nevada in their weight class. And so one of my sons actually ended up getting the flu, and he's here, and he had to cancel, you know, going to California or flying yesterday. But my 11-year-old actually got to go with his dad, and they're not in town. And so I'm all by myself with the kids, and I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. He's not here. I can't consult with him. There's nobody to take care of the little ones. And so I call my OBGYN's office, and they tell me to come in. And so I say, well, you know what? I'm going to take my two youngest. My daughter's 8, and my son, my youngest, is 4, because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble, like, oh, I left my kids at home, just in case, like, from the OBGYN's office, they end up saying, you know what, you need to go to labor and delivery for an emergency or something. Like, I didn't just want to leave my kids here at the house. So I decide to bring them with me, and I told the nurse, and she was like, yeah, well, you know, if they stay in the lobby, you can leave them in the lobby. So I get my kids ready, I get myself ready, I start driving, and I'm a few miles away when I get a phone call from the nurse, and she tells me that the doctor got called in for an emergency C-section. I'm just like, wow, this is insane. So I'm freaking out, and I say, okay, what do you want me to do? She's like, just go ahead and go into labor and delivery into the hospital. He's going to be there anyways. So that way, you know, they will update him on whatever your condition is, and he'll be there. So I said, okay. So since there was a change of plans, and we didn't have breakfast, like the kids didn't have breakfast, I decide, you know what, I better stop by a fast food restaurant and get them something to eat, because once we're in labor and delivery, I don't know how long we're going to be in there, and it's probably going to be a few hours, and the kids are going to be hungry. So I stop by, I place my order, and when I'm at the drive-through window, I felt 3 little faint kicks. And I didn't even know if they were actually kicks or if it was just like my nerves or something, you know. And so I was like, okay. I think the baby just kicked. And they were really, really faint. So I was really nervous. Like, I didn't call my husband because, you know, he's in California, and I didn't want to freak him out or anything like that. I also, you know, don't have any family here that can help me to take care of my kids. My mother-in-law's in Mexico right now. They won't be coming back until I think after my son is born. So they're like the only people that, you know, I can actually call to get some help with the kids. But, you know, since I do have a child with the flu, I didn't want to expose anybody coming inside my house and, you know, getting sick or anything like that. And so that's why I decided to do what I did. I left him here, and I took the 2 little ones with me. Anyhow, I was at the drive-thru, and I feel the kicks. And so I was just wondering, like, okay, are these kicks? Is there going to be any more? Is this it? Should I go to the hospital? Since they were so faint, is he in trouble? Like, is this a sign that he's in trouble? Or is this just a sign of him telling me, Mommy, I'm okay, you know? So I kind of start driving through the streets slowly, and as I'm driving, the kicks start getting more, I start feeling more kicks, and they're getting stronger. And that's, normal of him. And my belly starts getting hard again, like usual, because like I said before, it kind of felt wiggly and limp and lifeless, like there was nothing in there. So it's kind of like starting to return back to normal as I'm driving, and then I start freaking out, and I'm like dying of embarrassment because, like, in the morning when I called my OBGYN's office, I was crying. Like, I was just bawling my eyes out in tears because I had never gone through this. Like, a million things started rushing through my mind. I thought that, something had happened, and I was freaking out because my husband wasn't even here with me. Like, if anything were to happen to the baby, he doesn't come back until, I think it's Sunday around 10 p.m. that they're arriving at the airport. And so if anything were to happen to the baby, he would be so far away that he wouldn't get here in time, and I'm alone with the babies. Who's going to take care of them? Blah, 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 blah. Like, so many things came into my mind. And so I'm trying to drive and see what happens, because I don't want to go into labor and delivery and then have all the nurses like be like, this lady's crazy, because that's seriously how I feel. Like, I always start getting contractions really early in my pregnancies. This is, for me, my 5th pregnancy, but pregnancy 1 through 3, I started getting contractions at 7 months, and my first baby was actually delivered on his due date, which is really rare. But my other two were delivered at 37 weeks. And then my 4th baby, his contractions with him started at 6 months. And he also was delivered at 37 weeks. With this baby, I've been having contractions since 4 months. And he will probably also be born early. I don't know how early. But they, every time, like, I have contractions, and I usually get them and I start dilating early. So I go into the hospital having contractions 2 and 3 minutes apart. They're super painful, and somehow they end up sending me home because I'm not dilating any more than usual. I dilate to about a 4, and then I get stuck there forever, a few weeks. And so it's really embarrassing to me having to go into labor and delivery and then have the nurses look at me like I'm some kind of crazy woman, like, oh, here she comes again, or whatever, because I've had those experiences to where, because of my contractions and because of my issues in my pregnancies, like, I have to constantly be in there bugging them. And, it is embarrassing, to have people look at you like, oh my gosh, she's exaggerating, or she came in and there was nothing wrong, or blah, blah, blah. And I know it shouldn't be like that, but, there's always that fear of getting judged. So I didn't feel like getting judged. I had my 2 kids with me. I don't have anybody to watch them. I have one sick one at home that, he's on meds because of the flu, and I have to be checking up on him, and he's all home alone. He is 10 years old. So, I figured it's just going to be maybe an hour from if they check me at the OBGYN's office, so he should be fine because he's sleeping, he's watching TV in the living room, he's been fed, he's okay. And so at this point, since the baby is kicking, I decided to call my OBGYN office again and tell the nurse, you know, what had happened. And she tells me, you know what, at this point, it's up to you if you want to go in or not. I had to miss my appointment yesterday because my husband went out of town with my other son, and I had to go drop them off at the airport, and I didn't have anybody to watch the kids. So I had to reschedule, and they cannot see me until the end of this month. And so the nurse was telling me, since you're not going to be seen, you know, until the end of the month, maybe it would be a good idea for you to just go ahead and head into labor and delivery. That way you have some type of peace of mind that the baby's okay. Excuse me. And so at this point, I have my husband calling me on the other line, and I answer the phone, and I didn't want to call him earlier because I didn't want him to freak out, you know, because of everything that I'm going through, because I was crying and I was going insane because the baby wasn't moving and I was trying everything. Anyway, at this point, everything is better. The baby's kicking, the belly's feeling more full, more normal, I would say. And so I start telling him, you know, what had happened. And he tells me, well, it's truly up to you, you know, whatever you want to do. If you want to go ahead and go into labor and delivery. And I said, well, now, you know, now that the baby's kicking, I feel like he's kicking normal. So I'm kind of just going to wait it out at this point, because like I said, I don't just want to go in and then have them just be like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, you know. So baby has been super active ever since. He's been kicking like normal. He feels normal. I've been having a little bit of Braxton Hicks, like my tummy is hardening, but that's normal also of all my pregnancies, and at this point, because I am 7 months pregnant now. So I'm just going to go ahead and wait it out and see what happens. If anything were to happen, I will make another video and update you guys on what has been going on with me. But at this point, I'm just going to, you know, not go in as of now. And if, like I said, if anything were to change later on, I will do another video if I'm in the hospital, okay? Well, thank you so much for listening to me and my story. And I will be posting more videos. If you want to see them, please follow my page, and I will see you next time. Bye.